Oh, hey, you're looking for the wild card weekend picks, right? For Saturday? That's you? You weren't looking for one of those ASMR scratch the microphone videos? What the hell is going on with that, by the way? What the hell are these videos with these people whispering into microphones? I don't know. What the hell is the purpose of that? Do people listen to that at bed? Do they put somebody next to them whispering into that microphone and just pretend somebody's next to them in bed so they can pretend to fall asleep with someone next to them? I have no clue what the hell that is. I have no clue why I brought this up, but I do know that DraftKings Sportsbook has a great promotion where you bet $5 on anything, they're going to credit your account with $200. You don't even need to be right. In the past, sometimes you needed to be right with the money line, not right now. Bet $5, they're going to credit you with $200 in free bet credits. But as always, just know, you got to be over 21 in most of these states where gambling is legal. And also, if you got a problem, you got to call or text, not me, because I'm probably not even going to answer you, but 1-800-GAMBLER-WILL. And think about it, how did they get that number? You know, like if you go for stevesmith@gmail.com, that's never available, but they got it, so it's probably worth your while if you have an issue. 1-800-GAMBLER, gambler. But nobody here is a gambler, right? We're all sniffers. Speaking of which, I am very upset. I'm very upset going into this wildcard weekend because I had major sniffs relying on the Chargers, and it wasn't so much about this week. It was going to be next week. I'm telling you, the Chargers were going to go into Kansas City with those two wide receivers and Ekeler underneath, and they were going to beat the Chiefs. I know you're grumbling. Teams with great outside wide receivers give the Chiefs fits. You see what the Bengals have been doing, and ever since Williams came back, you saw what that offense has been doing, and that was the key. But that idiot Staley played him in the fourth or whatever, it was the second quarter of that game versus the Broncos when they should have been resting him because he had an injury earlier in the year, and now that derails my whole playoff sniffing. And you can argue that wasn't going to happen. I can argue it was going to happen, and we're never going to know because Mike Williams isn't going to play in that game. So just know a lot of my postseason sniffs in that Chargers direction have already been foiled, but it doesn't mean I'm still not going to take them on the money line here. I'm going with the LA Chargers money line to beat Jacksonville. I do not mind if you want to do the -2.5. As long as they have one of those two receivers back and can use Ekeler underneath, I think they have enough to get through this. And if you saw how Lawrence was playing last week, missed wide open touchdown, was that to Zay Jones? They required a defensive touchdown to win that game. The offense wasn't moving the ball well. ETN didn't do anything on the ground. And yes, I expect for it to be better than last week's, but I'm still going to take the Chargers to win this one. Now, I told you that Mike Williams ain't playing, and that is devastating for my long-term Chargers. I thought they were going to make it to the AFC Championship game. Now I'm not so sure. We'll take it on a game-by-game basis. However, since Mike Williams is not in this game, he is the deep threat. He's the vertical threat who opens everything up underneath. But now, since he's not going to be there, and I don't foresee Herbert winging it down the field on these deep routes, I think you're going to get a lot of Allen and Ekeler, like most people think that. However, I'm going to convert that into a Justin Herbert over. I think they got it set at 25.5 completions. I'm going to take the over on 25.5 completions for Justin Herbert because I don't expect too many deep shots, which means they're going to have to work underneath. A lot of those short dinks to Ekeler, some dunks to Allen, and boom, you have it at 25. So I'll take the over 25.5 on that. And then speaking of Keenan Allen, you've seen he's went right back to that underneath receiver, finding those little gaps in the zones, and he's been great since he's come back, especially since he's been healthy. And you know Herbert is going to lock in on him when that game is at those pivotal points, pivotal third downs. I'm going to take the over on his receiving yardage total. I think it's in the high 70s, might even be up to 80, but I'm still okay taking the over on Keenan Allen receiving yards. And then I think I got to take the over on Austin Ekeler rushing yards. I know he's used as a receiver a ton out of the backfield, but this is a relatively low total. I think he's capable of busting just one long run. Doesn't even have to be a huge run, like 120-yard run, and then the rest of the game, he just needs 30-something yards. I think he'll be able to do that. Now, looking at the later game, who knows Shanahan better than me? You can go back to the beginning of the year, whether it was Elijah Mitchell or Jeff Wilson or McCaffrey or Deebo. I know how this guy works. I do. I really should be brought in as a defensive coordinator. And I don't know if you're going to be able to stop it, but I can at least tell you what they're going to do. You remember how I told you, depending on how many running backs are healthy, is how they utilize Deebo Samuel in the backfield. Minimal Deebo Samuel in the back. I think maximum 3 carries. So I'm staying away from anything like that. But if you believe the San Francisco 49ers are going to beat the crap out of them in this one, you got to take the over on Elijah Mitchell rushing yards. You saw it last week. What you saw last week is going to be the standard utilization of those running backs. You're going to get a lot of McCaffrey early. You want to make sure they get a lead. Then as long as there's a lead, you're going to see a bunch of Elijah Mitchell, and I'm expecting him to get a bunch of second half work. So if you're savvy and clever, you'll wait the first 2 drives and you'll live bet the prop while it's even lower and then take it. So that's a nice sneaky way to get a great price and take the over. You can, but still, I'm fine with the over on Elijah Mitchell regardless. I'm also going to take the over at this one. I have the feeling it's a little chalky, but I'm still going to take it. The over on receiving yards for George Kittle. He's been fantastic with Brock Purdy under center. And you think about a rookie's first playoff game, you want the safe completions. It's been no different than everything we've seen so far, especially early in the game. I think he wants those safe completions to Kittle. I will take the over on George Kittle's receiving yards. Even if it's not the safe completions, he clearly trusts him. They have a good rapport. He's been unbelievable ever since Brock Purdy has taken over. So I will take the over on George Kittle's receiving yards. I'm going to take the under on Deebo Samuel's receptions. He's just coming back from that injury. It's not like they're not going to use him. I know he's going to be out there, but I don't think they're going to have as many design plays for him in this game, which is a game where they're like pretty much double-digit favorites. As the opponent gets more difficult, as the score is closer, that's when they truly utilize Deebo. So stay away from backfield bets, stay away from rushing yards. And remember, I was all over the rushing yards when Elijah Mitchell was out of the lineup because he served as their 1B. That's not the case this time, so stay away from that. And I'm even going to take that under on 3.5 receptions because Brock Purdy has established a really good rapport with Kittle, McCaffrey underneath, and then even with Ayuk we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. So what are the odds that Deebo goes in there right away and becomes the leading receiver? Maybe, but I don't think so. And if they do have a lead, I don't foresee him playing the majority of the snaps in the second half just to make sure he's as healthy as possible for those real difficult matchups in the following round or 2. So I'm going to take the under 3.5 for Deebo Samuel in that one. And one last bet from that game, got to get involved with Christian McCaffrey somehow. I'm going to take the over 15.5 on his longest reception because, like I just stated earlier, I think you're going to get a lot of safe completions, as we've seen these last couple of weeks. A lot of George Kittle and a lot of McCaffrey underneath, and I believe he's going to be able to take one of these, and maybe it's even a design screen. Look at the defense that they're playing. This is the Seattle Seahawks. They're in San Francisco. You know, it was different when they were in Seattle, and Purdy even ended up winning that game, and Kittle went off in that game. And I think McCaffrey had a bunch of catches in that game too. But I'm going to take the over 15.5, longest reception for Christian McCaffrey. You got to think he takes one of those screens, one of those design screens to get an easy completion. I wish I could take this in the first quarter for an even higher total. Like bump this total to like plus 300. And I bet you he does that in the first quarter because they're going to get Purdy some easy completions. I will take the over 15.5, longest reception for Christian McCaffrey. And those are my favorite Saturday bets. If you don't like them, don't worry about it. Tomorrow, maybe you'll like some of my favorite Sunday bets. All right? Good luck to all of you. Better luck to me. You make sure you're subscribed to the Odd Shopper channel here. I think we've had a pretty nice year from beginning to end. And now we got the playoffs. And the work isn't done. Take it easy.